It's not just what you're doing in the deal that helps this all work out. It's not just what your realtor is doing. There are many different people that come together to make one transaction or one deal work out. And if one of those people drops the ball, doesn't do their job the right way, it can have catastrophic effects that can really throw that deal completely off the tracks, right? And so you want to make sure that when you are assembling your team to purchase that house or to make that deal happen, you want to be choosing. Welcome to the Home Goals Podcast, the ultimate guide for turning your home goals into a reality. I'm your host, Derek Thornton. Join us as we navigate the twists and turns of obtaining a home. We'll be offering expert tips, helping you avoid pitfalls, and championing your journey towards that cherished place to call home. In light of the Super Bowl recently happening this past week, I wanted to take a moment and use this week's episode to discuss the team that it takes in order for you to be able to purchase a home, and more importantly, assembling a winning team to make that happen. When you go to purchase a property or a home, it's not just what you're doing in the deal that helps this all work out. It's not just what your realtor is doing. There are many different people that come together to make one transaction or one deal work out. And if one of those people drops the ball, doesn't do their job the right way, it can have catastrophic effects that can really throw that deal completely off the tracks, right? And so you want to make sure that when you are assembling your team to purchase that house or to make that deal happen, you want to be choosing the best of the best. Random fun fact, I majored in sport management at NC State, go Wolfpack. And for several years, I had dreams of being a sports general manager, particularly for a basketball team. And it was one of those things where I got to learn a lot about the business side of sports and going through those different classes and seeing the way that things are constructed. And GMs play a very big role in assembling these teams, right? They have to find out who's the best match, not only to get the job done, but also as far as like bringing all these different personalities and different people into a room together, right? You've got the coaches, you've got the star players, you've got the equipment managers, you've got all these different people that you're bringing together to achieve this one common goal. In football especially, they always say it's the ultimate team sport, right? Because everyone else is dependent on what else is happening, right? The quarterback can be the most amazing thrower of all time, but if their receivers are terrible catchers, it means nothing, right? Or if their offensive line can't protect them, i.e. we saw what happened to Patrick Mahomes, right? If their offensive line can't do a good job of protecting them, they're not going to be able to stay upright. And I don't care how good of a quarterback you are, if your line isn't up to par, it's going to have a tremendous impact on your ability to impact that game. Right. And so all these different positions are dependent on one another in a football team. And it's very similar to purchasing a home in the sense that there's a lot of people that are coming together with one common goal, right? Getting this house sold to the buyer. And all of those people have to be on their A game, right? Like I said, you have to be doing that. And so I'm going to talk through some of the more important team members that you need to assemble. You don't have complete control over everyone that's in the transaction. For example, the home appraiser. The buyer doesn't get to pick the exact appraiser that comes out to appraise that home. So you won't get a chance or an opportunity to pick everyone that's included in that deal or that transaction. But the people that you do have an opportunity to select, you want to make sure that you are picking people who can help you get across that finish line. Not only people that are good with their job, but also that are good with your personality, right? Like there are some lenders, there are some realtors that are great for certain personality types, and there are some that are terrible for a certain personality type. You want to also look at not just the matter of what their skills and everything are, but are they working best in the way that you like to work? One thing I've noticed about myself over the years is that I tend to do very well with people who are engineers or kind of analytical types who like to get into the nuts and bolts and details, because obviously I love teaching about this stuff. And so I love when they're asking a ton of questions and wanting to learn the ins and outs of every decision, kind of the pros and cons. Those are the ones, or the deals or transactions, that typically work out very well for me because that kind of plays into my personality as well. That personality type may not always match up with certain other buyers or clients and stuff like that. And you have to understand that going into the deal and what's the best way to work with people, right? Like I said, not every coach in the NFL is the same, right? There's different coaches, and there's also a ton of different personalities. You can't coach every single player the same way, and they have to understand that, right? And so these are all things that you need to keep in mind. And it may sound like something that is not a big deal. It may sound like something that you don't really need to focus on, but I can assure you, especially in residential real estate where emotions are heavy, these all make a huge deal in how that deal with that transaction is going to work out. I've seen plenty of deals fall apart over emotions, over pride, over egos, far more than anything else technically with the deal or transaction, right? And so one of the first people that you want to get on your team or on your squad is the realtor. The realtor is essentially your quarterback in the sense that they are going to be orchestrating a lot of the different other areas. The average person on their day-to-day lives is not talking with a home inspector. They're not talking with a real estate attorney or any of the other people that are often involved in a real estate deal. A lot of times people are looking to the advice or the counsel of their realtor because we're frankly in the business day in and day out, right? And so a lot of the steps and things that you need to keep in mind, your realtor is going to be best equipped to prepare you for those steps. Now, the funny thing about it is that most realtors, myself included, we are control freaks by nature, right? We want to have our hands and we want to be able to dictate how things operate in a transaction or deal. And at the end of the day, we have almost little to no control in a deal or transaction. We can't make or force anyone to do anything in that deal. We're just bringing all these different parties together and trying to make it work out as best we can. But at the end of the day, I can't force anybody to do anything in a deal, right? And so that's the interesting part about this business, is that you want to pick a realtor who not only speaks well to your personality type, make sure that you understand what you're getting into, that you're not just leaping into a decision head first and not having a full understanding or full grasp of what's going on, but you want to have that person who can also bring in many other people into that deal who can make sure that you have everything you need as well. Right, because again, most people are looking to that realtor to get recommendations for all the other team members that we're going to bring into the picture. And so it's always important for you to reach out and make sure that you find the realtor that's the best fit for you, right? Like, so if let's say, for example, the Kansas City Chiefs wanted to bring in some new pieces to help their offense out, right? They wanted to bring in some new linemen, some new receivers. They're going to run those decisions by Patrick. Now, at the end of the day, they still have complete control over who gets bought into the deal, but they also understand that he's going to be working in conjunction with these people, and so they want to make sure that he understands. And he's often going to have a say in who gets to be on that team as well, because they know he's going to be the one that's playing with them. He's going to be the one that needs to be able to connect with them. And the realtor, like I said, is going to be able to bring in other team members who are going to be the best fit because they know what's a good field. They're actually in the transaction. They're in the deal. They know who can best help get that to the main goal or the main finish line. So you want to make sure you have your realtor in the corner. The next up is that you want to make sure that the lender is the appropriate one as well. The lender, we have episodes that we've done completely on just picking the right lender, right? And usually your realtor is going to be the one that can refer that, but the lender can make or break the deal in many cases. The number one reason that most residential deals fall apart is because of issues with financing, right? And so you want to make sure that you have a lender that can help determine all these things. Now, a lot of the stuff that's going on the lending side, are things that are not really attractive. They're not exciting. They're not things that people usually want to talk about, right? The lending side of things, although it's the most crucial part of a transaction or deal, is the part that often gets overlooked. Is the part that people really don't want to deal with or go through, but it's a necessary hassle, right? I would compare the lender almost to the offensive or the defensive line. You know, those players that are in the trenches. They say the games are won or lost in the trenches. Deals or transactions are won or lost with the financing. That's how important it is, right? And it's not a glamorous position. It's not a glamorous job that gets all the commercials and the sponsorships and the deals, but it is absolutely essential to making these deals work out. And so, again, like I said, once you get that quarterback in there, that's the realtor is going to really be able to help you. But once you get them in place, those people that you choose for the lending aspect of it are going to play a major part. And so you want to first make sure that you get a lender who can help out. More importantly, you want to get a local lender. You want to get someone who is familiar with how deals and transactions work in your area. You don't want to get a big national chain that doesn't really understand how things operate in certain areas or certain ways, or they may treat you like a number that's just some file in a stack and they don't really care if the deal closes or not. You want someone who is local, who gets paid on a commission basis, who wants this deal to work out, and they are fully familiar with everything that's going on in the deal, right? If something goes wrong, I don't want to be calling a call center to talk to someone in a different state or a different area to try to figure this out and get them up to speed on what's going on. I want somebody who's in my corner right there in the area. Real estate is hyper local, and you need a local lender to make sure that you are in the best position possible when that time comes. The next team member that you want to bring on is your home inspector. Now, this is more so after you have gotten the home under contract, which your realtor and lender have played a big part in getting you just to that point. But even past that, again, you want to have the home inspector come in to make sure that you are completely protected and that you are fully aware of whatever problems or issues could happen in a deal or transaction. I like to think of them more so as the coordinators that are looking up from above. You know, you think of the coordinators like the Vic Fangios of the world who are looking down on the field from above. They can see all the different things that are going on, and they can point out potential issues or problems right there on the spot, being able to see it. And that's what the home inspector is doing, right? It's their job to be able to point out potential issues that are currently an issue, or they could become an issue in the very near future. Most people, again, like I said, usually don't know of many home inspectors, or they don't think about those professions or those contractors until they're actually under contract on a home. And so a lot of times your realtor will be the one who recommends a home inspector to you, but you want to make sure that they're recommending someone who, again, has the ability to be able to teach and make sure that you have a full grasp and understanding of what's going on. They're not going to be able to tell you for liability purposes. They can't come in and tell you exactly how to fix every single issue that they may come across, but they can help give you a good overview of things that you need to keep in mind with that particular property. I have yet to see a blank inspection report, and I'm sure I never will, because there's always going to be something wrong in that house. The inspector's job, though, you want an inspector who can explain it to you, who's not going to freak out about every little item, but really give you a good, accurate picture of what's going on with that home and what things you need to be adamant about having addressed, and what things you could probably put off or hold to the side and kind of figure out where you need to go from there. But that home inspector is very key. It's completely optional to get a home inspection done. Always recommended. All right, like I said, whether it's a new construction or resale, I always recommend you get that home inspection. That's going to be a very important key feature for you to keep in mind. Next up is the insurance agent, right? I always tell people once they go under contract, or even before they go under contract in some cases, to talk with their insurance agent to see if there's any unique stipulations that may be going on that would cause a spike in the insurance rates, right? Is that home in a flood zone? Are there past claims on that property? Is there any building materials with that home that would cause there to be issues with being able to get homeowners insurance coverage on it. Because again, if you're getting a mortgage loan, they're going to require you don't have a choice. They're going to require you have home insurance on that property in order for them to sign off on that mortgage. And you want to make sure that you have a full understanding of what's going on. The home insurance is also, the agent is also a great resource. Even before you put in an offer, having them run a clue report just to see if there's any potential issues or problems that have happened or claims that have happened in the past. Sometimes the current owner may not even be aware of things that have been claimed on the house in the past, and you want to see if there's any particular things that you might need to keep in mind or that they've done, and if those items were handled correctly or appropriately. And then in addition to checking to see what has happened in the past, your home insurance agent can also make sure that you have the best coverage and protection so that if anything goes wrong in the future, you have something that is an added safety net to protect you, to make sure that you're not at a full loss, right? So if anything happens, if a hurricane comes through and blows that house away, you want to have some type of coverage in place to make sure that that home can be rebuilt and replaced, and you want to make sure that you have adequate coverage, right? You get what you pay for. There are some home insurance options out there that are dirt cheap, and they offer dirt cheap coverage, right? You may not even get half of the house to be rebuilt. It might be just a portion of it or something too. And so again, making sure that you not only have someone who is a reputable insurance agent and company can put you in touch with someone, but that the coverage that you have is full coverage and it's not something that is partial or subpar or not something that's going to give you the protection that you need. Lastly, and these ones kind of work in conjunction with one another, but the other team members that you get to select and bring on board with you are, one, the real estate attorney, who kind of conducts the transaction and helps all those things work together, but then also the title insurance company, right? So the attorney is oftentimes putting in order for that title insurance and working in conjunction with them. But the important thing to keep in mind is that you get to decide who you want to choose to fill those two roles. Most people don't have any recommendations off the top of their mind, and so they'll usually lean on the advice or the consult of their realtor, but you can select whoever you want to fill that position, and they are very important. I have an entire episode on how important real estate attorneys are. It's a role that is often overlooked, is not talked about often, but again, it can make or break the deal. But purchasing a home, just like football, is the ultimate team sport. Everybody needs to be on their A game to make sure that deal works out. The attorney, the title insurance, they're both working to make sure that there are no defects on that property, that there's no long lost siblings that could come along and say that they have an ownership right in that plot of land, or that you don't have full ownership, that there's no issues with another lot or another piece of land encroaching on your property. They want to make sure that you have full ownership of that property that you're interested in. And they want to make sure that everything goes well with the deal as well, that there's no shady things going on behind the scenes. They're orchestrating everything, and they're working with all sides. They work with the seller, they work with the buyer. Even though the attorney represents you in the deal, they are making sure that everything is done correctly and that there are no issues or problems that can take place, right? And the title insurance company is making sure, again, that you have the best coverage available, and that if there's any issues, that you are fully covered, right? And so these are all things that you need to keep in mind and truly understand. And these are some team members that are going to be a key people for you to have in your corner when you go to purchase that home. So this is a recap. Again, you want your realtor. That's who you're first going to come to, and they're oftentimes going to have the recommendations and the contacts for you to support for the rest of the team as well. And you definitely want to consult with them. So you got your realtor, your lender, your home inspector, your home insurance agent, your attorney, and the title insurance company. These are some of the key team members that are going to help that transaction run as smoothly as possible. And you want to make sure that you have all of them lined up and that they're the best people to fill those jobs in those positions. And so this just gives you a little something to think about. Again, you need to be thinking like a GM when you go to purchase that home. You need to be thinking about who are the best team members that I can pull together to achieve the ultimate goal, the home goal of purchasing this property, right? Purchasing that home should be seen as your Super Bowl, right? All of you are collectively coming together to make that deal or that transaction work out. And you want to make sure that everybody is on their A game. Everybody's doing their assignment correctly and making sure that you can ultimately get in that home without any problems, any issues, that you're fully protected, you got full coverage, and you're ready to enjoy the American dream without any issues or problems looming or lurking in the background. So I hope that that's helpful for you all. I want you to be as successful as possible in your home buying journey, and this is one of the best ways that I know to help you with that. So hope that you find that all helpful. Have a wonderful week, and I'll talk to you next time.